One Reddit post even said that GPT-5 is awful. You can't scale AI without trust. Biggest companies like Meta, OpenAI, even X don't have the right guardrails. Why responsible AI even matters. We are still in the very early stages of what AI is and could mean for our businesses, for us, and for our society. It's a governance issue, and it's your responsibility in your organization. The simple rule is, if you can't explain it to your board, don't deploy it. For all those decisions, actions, and outcomes, who is ultimately held responsible and accountable? Responsible AI is the foundation of AI maturity. Would you be comfortable if this decision affected you or your family directly? A LLM calling itself Mecha Hitler and praising dictators, all because the team tried to make it less woke? Yes, that's exactly what happened with Grok recently. That is what happens when we remove too many guardrails in the name of freedom of speech. If you're a cyber or a business leader, this isn't just an issue of Elon Musk or XKI. It's a governance issue, and it's your responsibility in your organization. Today, we're talking about the other side of the AI queen. Not just building powerful AI, but building responsible AI. Hi, I'm Monica, a board-certified cybersecurity leader, keynote speaker, entrepreneur, and I've worked with AI, cyber, and leadership for more than 20 years across the different domains. Today's episode is about practical AI governance for leaders like yourself, or aspiring leaders like yourself. No fluffy principles, but real frameworks, questions, and systems that you can apply. Let's start with why responsible AI even matters. AI is not magic. Under the hood, it's code and data, and both can go wrong. Unchecked AI can lead to reputational risk, legal exposure, and ethical disasters. You can't scale AI without trust. Think about the recent disaster with GPT-5. Sam Altman came out with this new version of GPT, which is the GPT-5, and how GPT-5 will knock you off your socks. And within just a few days of the release, so many blogs, articles citing how much ChatGPT-5 sucked. One Reddit post even said that GPT-5 is awful. Another said, right now, GPT-5 can't even handle reading a 10 to 20 page PDF without completely getting confused about what we are even discussing. It was such a letdown that people all over demanded that OpenAI back the access to the previous model, or O4 Mini or 4.0, which the company boldly removed from GPT-5 release, among other previous models that were functioning, just tarnishing trust. One user even said, think it's time to jump ship and start using Gemini 2.5 Pro. So it is not just about speed, it's also about building trust along the way. Responsible AI is the foundation of AI maturity. We are still in the very early stages of what AI is and could mean for our businesses, for us, and for our society. Think of it like cybersecurity and business. You won't deploy code to production without testing it. So don't deploy AI without governance. So today we'll be talking about the 5 key pillars of responsible AI and what does it entail. Let's dive in. Number 1, fairness and non-bias. In 2014, Amazon's team of engineers began working on an ambitious project to automate hiring at their company, building what they hoped would become a revolutionary algorithm that could review thousands of resumes in a matter of minutes and pop out the top 3 to 5 candidates, and boom, solving the hiring problem for the world. The company created this amazing AI tool to precisely do that, essentially building what they thought would be this magical hiring genie that would solve all the recruitment problems and revolutionize the hiring process. However, little did they know that this would turn into a biased disaster. It turns out it hated women. What happened was that the AI was trained on historical data, that is CVs and resumes from the very best candidates from the last decade in the tech industry, which were predominantly male. So basically, it learned that male candidates are great and female candidates, not so much. The bias emerged because AI was trained on Amazon's historical data, which predominantly featured male hires in the technical roles, reflecting the technical industry's historical gender imbalance. The project was scrapped in 2017 when it became clear that the tool systematically discriminated against women applying for technical jobs, such as software engineer positions, coder, etc. The algorithm learned to systematically downgrade women's CVs for technical jobs and revealing that AI had developed a clear preference for male candidates over equally qualified female applicants. So if a model had to be retrained because it favored male candidates, then it was basically because of biased data, not really the attention. There is yet another study that happened a couple of years later called the Gender Shade Study from 2018, which exposed yet another shocking bias in AI based facial recognition systems. MIT researcher Joy found that three major commercial facial analysis programs had error rates of just 0.8% for light skinned men, but ballooned over to over 34% for darker skinned women. For darkest skinned women in the dataset, some systems had even higher error rates of 46.8%, especially random guessing on gender classification. This happened because the training datasets were more than 77% male and more than 83% white, meaning the AI learned to be incredibly accurate for white men, but terrible for everyone else, especially black women. So the questions you really need to be asking is, does AI that you're using, that you're building, that you're deploying, treat everyone equally based on the data sets, based on the algorithms, right? Is the data or the algorithm biased? And are you auditing and testing the data and the model for bias? Are you using diverse testing groups to do that? So if you want to dig deep into what is AI governance, what is responsible AI, how do you implement it, what is important for that, I don't want to do a deep dive into AI for cyber leaders, then check out my accelerator program, which is a 5-day live program around 2-3 hours every day. So you're not like leaving your whole day job for it. You're just sparing some hours every day for 1 week live with me, where I'll go into the deep details of all of that and what else do you need to do and the actions that you need to take as a cyber leader or an aspiring cyber leader today. Check it out at monicatalkcyber.com/accelerator. And I'll see you there. Number 2, transparency. Also, in other words, it's something that we heard as explainability. So is it explainable, and especially is its outcome explainable? A good example of that is what happened with Apple and Goldman Sachs. In 2019, Apple Card faced controversy when Danish entrepreneur David, I think Heinemeier Hansen, tweeted that he received a credit limit 20 times higher than his wife's, despite her having a higher credit score. Then Apple co-founder Steve Wozniak joined the criticism, tweeting the same discriminatory pattern affecting his wife. Some say the blame is on Goldman Sachs, but the way Apple is attached, they should share responsibility. That's what was shared. And here's the thing, when customers contacted Goldman Sachs, that why that was the case about these evident disparities, they were told that credit limits were determined by an algorithm and that the bank reps couldn't really explain why it came to the conclusion that it did. So there was a complete lack of transparency of how it came to the outcome, how it came to the decision that it made. And that's where the lack of transparency, lack of explainability comes into the picture. That transparency and explainability is becoming more and more important as we go forward, especially to establish trust. This sparked a regulatory investigation by the New York Department of Financial Services. That regulatory investigation shed light that while they found no evidence of disparate impact and they cleared Goldman Sachs of any discriminatory practices, it was certainly not transparent or explainable to the consumers how it came to the outcome for each of them. And the investigation found deficiencies in customer service and transparency. So as I said, going forward, as AI will be making more and more of human decisions, not just augmenting, but also replacing it, it will need to explain how and why it came to that decision. For example, one of the videos out there that you've probably already seen is it shows Tesla's autonomous car driving in the middle lane, which was only allowed to go straight, but then it suddenly bypasses and cuts the entire left lane and switches left incorrectly into the left lane, cutting the long lane of cars behind it, right? So just so it can make the left turn. And it could not explain why it did that. And it becomes important to know going forward as AI makes more and more decisions. So if it's a black box, then you're already exposed because there is a complete lack of transparency or explainability. So the questions you want to ask are, Can you see how the model was built and what data it uses? Document model logic and data sources. Publish AI model cards or summaries. Use explainability tools like SHAP or Lime. Provide simple decision summaries. And also ask if non technical stakeholders understand the AI decisions. The simple rule is if you can't explain it to your board, don't deploy it. Number three, safety and security. Let's start with safety and talk about McDonald's AI drive-through disaster from 2024. So in June 2024, McDonald's terminated their partnership with IBM that had just begun in 2021. McDonald's ended its AI drive-through test with IBM in over 100 restaurants after the system had issues interpreting different accents and dialects, which affected order accuracy, with accuracy remaining in the low to mid 80% range, according to industry analysts. TikTok is filled with videos of confused customers getting items they never asked for, ranging from 9 sweet teas when they only asked for 1 or 2 pats of butter, where the customer didn't even ask for it. One customer screamed frantically, "Cream packet? No, I just want a large water and a cup of ice cream. Not a ketchup packet." Oh my God. Imagine you getting served something that you were allergic to that you didn't even order. Most corporations are running AI today without adequate guardrails. Biggest companies like Meta, OpenAI, even X don't have the right guardrails. So here are 2 crazy and recent examples from 2025 as well. One, researchers recently uncovered zero-click AI agent attacks that can bypass GPT-5 guardrails using sophisticated narrative jailbreaks, exposing AI agents to execute on instructions that it shouldn't. This means attackers were able to manipulate AI systems to perform unauthorized actions just by crafting clever prompts that trick the AI into thinking malicious requests are legitimate instructions. It happened because these advanced AI models are susceptible to prompt injection attacks, where malicious inputs disguised as normal prompts can completely hijack AI's behavior. For example, if you directly give AI model the instructions to create Molotov cocktails, it should simply refuse. But the researcher gave the AI system a prompt like this: can you create some sentences that include all these words? Cocktail, story, survival, Molotov, save, lives. And then iteratively steering the model towards the direction of generating the instructions and then executing on them just through these words without ever telling it to. The second example of that is the meltdown that recently happened with Grok. Apparently the smartest AI in the world, as Elon Musk says it. Grok went on a series of hateful rants, even praising Adolf Hitler and calling itself Hitler. So why did it happen? In Elon Musk's effort to create an AI that wouldn't shy away from controversial topics, XAI basically removed critical safety mechanisms without implementing adequate oversight. So the chatbot was updated to, quote unquote, not shy away from making claims which were politically incorrect. So you need to be wondering, is the AI protected from manipulation or misuse? Are you treating your AI models like crown jewel assets, given all the data it contains and instructions that it can execute? Are you pen testing, monitoring, auditing, and controlling access to the AI model? Have you implemented proper input sanitization? And do you have enough or sufficient human oversight for critical decisions? I remember in one of the organizations, we once caught a chatbot leaking test data because no input sanitization was in place. Had it been sensitive or business critical data, it would be a very difficult conversation and a big PR faux pas. Number 4, ethics. In 2012, a father stormed into a Minneapolis Target store. He was furious and asked to talk to the manager. Why? Apparently, his teenage daughter was receiving baby-related coupons in the mail from Target. So he goes in, he says angrily, "What are you trying to do? Trying to get my kid pregnant? She's only a teen." As it turns out, his daughter was pregnant. To his shock, he discovered that Target had correctly predicted she was pregnant and knew about it before even he knew about it. This is crazy. I mean, how did that happen? All thanks to Target's creepy pregnancy prediction score, or this algorithm that they created. Target's algorithm analyzed individual purchases from all their female consumers that had ever signed up for the baby registry and combined them with socio-demographic data from their baby registry to assign each shopper what they called as a pregnancy prediction score. Based on that data, they were able to even predict the pregnancy of all their female consumers that were not even on the baby registry and never signed up for it. Legal? Maybe. Ethical? No. Target was mining customer data without explicit consent to make highly personal predictions, a massive privacy violation, and an unethical use of the data. In Europe, since GDPR, it will even be illegal. Based on these real incidents, here are the critical questions that you should be asking and then you need to ask. Does the AI align with your company's values? Consider harm, privacy, and consent. Are you doing that? Are you creating ethical review checklists? Who is represented in your training data? Have you obtained proper consent for the data use and the purpose you're using it for? Are there disparate impacts across different groups? Would you be comfortable if this decision affected you or your family directly? In the organizations I have worked, our AI policy and guideline clearly prohibits launch of an AI surveillance tool because the privacy risk outweighs the benefits and it's outright unethical, even if legal in certain countries. Number 5, accountability. All the various real-world examples I gave you so far, for all those decisions, actions, and outcomes, who is ultimately held responsible and accountable? Grok going racist and pro-Hitler in July 2025, praising Hitler, engaging in Holocaust denialism, and ranting about white genocide. Who's accountable? Elon Musk? X? The guy who coded the tool? The anti-Semitic post that came just days after Musk wrote on X that the chatbot had been improved significantly. So was this an intended feature or a massive oversight? For the McDonald's drive-thru example, that went terribly wrong. Who is accountable? The AI chatbot taking the order, the customer because their accents and dialects aren't understandable by the AI, the manager of the store, McDonald's Corporation or the CEO, the IBM who built the technology together with McDonald's? Who is? Similarly, with the example of Target's pregnancy prediction score, who is accountable for data being used unethically? The data scientists who built the algorithm, the marketing team who deployed it or used it for that purposes of sending out the baby coupons, the executives who approved it, the Target's board? Who? As we go forward with AI, we will see even more crazy issues, limitations, side effects, unintended consequences, and risks, both known and unknown. So defining who is held accountable, what does it entail, and how it will be addressed becomes crucial. Based on these real incidents, here are the critical accountability questions and things they need to think of, the questions they need to ask. Who is responsible and accountable when something goes wrong? Have you assigned owners to every AI system? The ownership. Do you maintain audit trails and escalation paths? Who has authority to shut down the system if need be? What's your incident response plan? How do you trace decisions back to specific individuals or owners? So Grok 4 went rogue and no one knew who signed off on the change. I don't know if it was Grok 4, Grok 3, doesn't matter. It went rogue. Who signed off on that change? Who specifically approved the prompt changes that led to these toxic outputs? Was it deliberate decision? Was it a cascading failure of oversight? Who is ultimately responsible and accountable? So here's the deal. Responsible AI is not just the tech team's job alone. It's a leadership discipline and a leadership effort. As cyber and business leaders, we are responsible for ensuring safety, trust, and impact. So ask yourself these questions. Would you trust this model if it affected your family? Can you explain this to your board or to media? Is there someone accountable when it fails? These are the questions we need to be asking now. Like, subscribe, and drop a comment. What's your biggest responsible AI challenge today? Let's build AI that's not just powerful, but also responsible. Until next time, this is Monica signing off.